Hello again, Gills fans. Welcome back to the latest episode of Gills in the Blood TV. It is once again Monday review time, and it is another Saturday 3 points to look back on. So we're going to do that first, and then later on in the video, we'll have the thoughts of Lincoln City fan Jake Tong ahead of our game against them on Tuesday. And then, of course, a preview of that big game. Can Gills go to Sincil Bank and pick up a positive result and keep our outside chances of gate crashing the top six well and truly alive for another tricky game at home to Doncaster next weekend? But first, our win at the county ground on Saturday. First half, absolute write-off in terms of a spectacle. Said that at the time on the Matchday Live and on Twitter. We were playing into an horrendous gale force wind. Barely got anything going in terms of an attacking sense. I think Jordan Graham had one shot charged down in the early part of the game. Aside from that, Ollie Lee tiptoed his way to the byline and managed to dig out a cross that Verdane Oliver very nearly headed in at the back post, apart from some really good defending. But aside from that, it was just a case of damage limitation, trying to limit Swindon chances and trying to get in at 0-0 because they had the wind at their backs. A couple of free kicks they attempted to shoot from about 40 yards unsuccessfully. And we were 3 minutes away from a really good first half performance in them conditions. But Brett Pittman, who we know all about at this level, if you follow League One and League Two, he's a proven marksman in the lower reaches of the EFL, and he scored a really good opener. Ball was played into his feet, good little switch onto his left foot, and Jack Bonham was left with no chance. And it was a little bit deflating, but credit the boys, credit Steve Evans, made one tweak at the break, took off Tommy O'Connor and brought on Alex MacDonald, who was decent on Tuesday night from the bench, and he had a real positive impact. He was bright, he was energetic, he was getting in and around Swindon, and from the moment that Verdane Oliver headed in from about a yard, there was only one side that was really going to win it. Such was the brittle nature of Swindon's confidence. 1-1 quickly became 2-1 to Gills, and it's an absolutely brilliant finish from Verdane Oliver. Jordan Graham claiming the assist, unintentionally or not. Ball found its way to Big Verdane. Keeper's come herring off his line. Angles getting narrower and narrower and narrower. And it's a brilliant finish from distance that clips the inside of the near post and rolls across the line. Reminded me a little bit, for those older viewers, of Mark Hughes' goal for Manchester United in the 1991 European Cup Winners' Cup final. And then 2 quickly became 3, and it was game, set and match and done and dusted really with about 15-20 minutes to play. Carl Dempsey's deflected free kick went in and left the keeper wrong-footed. Fair play to Swindon, they kept coming and kept battling, and we switched off a couple of times in the last 5 minutes after they'd made 5 changes in one go. The lad Tyler Smith had a couple of chances from the bench. One Jack Bonham stood up well and saved, and one he blazed over when offside. But yeah, it was a really positive second half performance. We didn't have to be at our best. Such was the confidence of Swindon, a side that looks entrenched in a relegation battle. But we had to be decent. We had to take our chances, and we did that. And on the main, we managed the game pretty well as soon as we got in front, and limited them to minimal chances, like I say, until them last few minutes when we just switched off and got a little bit casual. But John Akindi and Alex MacDonald both had a really positive impact from the bench. There was a couple of people mentioned on social media that maybe John's header had gone over the line, but the main thing was that Verdane Oliver followed it in and made sure that the goal did stand. And another good 3 points, and certainly a decent reaction after losing to that harsh penalty on Tuesday, which I did say at the time I thought was a spot kick, but the more I've seen it, the more I think, nah, the player's gone over far too easily. But you can't worry about it too much. You have to dust yourself down and crack on, and we reacted in the best possible way by winning a game of football. And it leads us into Tuesday night's game against playoff hunting, promotion chasing Lincoln City, and that is who we play next. Michael Appleton's Imps not in any kind of form compared to when they arrived at the Mems Priestfield Stadium at the start of February, where they dismantled us by 3-0. Certainly deserved their victory that night on the Sky Sports television, but it was a game that swung on a really poor penalty decision by the referee. It was Brennan Johnson who dived for me. Referee fell for it after little, if any, contact from Ryan Jackson, and from 2-0 we had to chase it, and we got picked off again and lost 3-0. Lincoln, I said at the time, were probably the most rounded 11 I'd seen us come across this season. Very, very good in all aspects of the game. but it looks like they might have a couple of people missing for Tuesday night. But what I'm going to do now, before I talk more regarding the fixture and our team news, is leave you with Jake Tong. Like I said, you can find him at Jake_Tong98, and he's a writer and presenter for at Stacey West Blog, a really good Lincoln City website and fan page that you can find on Twitter. So here is Jake now with all the inside information you need on Michael Appleton's side.
Hello Matt and everybody else involved with Jills in the Blood TV. Thank you very much for having me on your channel. I'll just introduce myself. My name is Jake. I am part of the Stacey West podcast, a Lincoln City based podcast. Before I get started, really, I just want to say congratulations to Matt and the team for reaching 1.5k subscribers on YouTube. A massive goal for Matt. You know, makes some really good content around Gillingham and, you know, makes it really enjoyable as well for you guys. So yeah, just wanted to say really congratulations, Matt, for reaching that milestone, and yeah, I'm sure there'll be plenty more to come. Anyway, I'm sure you guys are more interested in a Lincoln City point of view ahead of the game on Tuesday night. Personally, I think Steve Evans and you guys will probably be licking your lips at the prospect of playing us at Central Bank at the minute. We're in a really rough patch of form recently, you know, losses to Swindon and losses to, you know, Rochdale today, 1 win in 17. You know, I can't tell you how devastated I am that we've lost today. Yeah, the only sort of notable home result that we've had in the last couple of weeks would be last Saturday against Crewe. We turned them over 3-0, but you know, it's becoming a bit of a problem. Our home form, it seems to be haltering us at this minute in time with our promotion push. Yeah, it's difficult, and Gillingham will be looking to come to Central Bank and doing exactly what every other team that has come here and won has done. You know, sit back, take their opportunities when they can, because you know they've got some very clinical strikers in the way of Verdane Oliver and John Akinde, as well as Jordan Graham, Carl Dempsey, players that we know are very good at this level. And yeah, I think Gillingham will be a huge threat on Tuesday night, especially for us. Just a little bit then in terms of Lincoln's season so far. We had a high amount of turnover in the summer. We released a lot of fan favourites, the likes of Michael Boswick, Neil Erdley, Josh Vickers was released as well. So a lot of fans were sort of upset with Michael Appleton when we had the summer window. We brought in a few players that weren't quite known to us. But you know, for the most part, it looks like they've been really good additions. You know, the likes of Liam Bridcut on a permanent deal, Brennan Johnson on loan from Nottingham Forest, players like Conor McGrandles, James Jones, players that were established in League Two and League One and looking to play higher. And it seemed to be really come together in the early part of the season, because we beat the likes of Oxford, the last year's playoff finalists. Charlton just came down from the Championship. We beat them comfortably 2-0. We played Blackpool away, a team that I predicted would come, you know, close to the top 6, and you know, we turned them over sort of in the last minute with Lewis Monson, where our goal scoring centre half. He scored something like 8 goals so far this season from centre half, and it's been absolutely unbelievable. We're sort of worried, I'm sure, as some Gills fans will be, with some of the players that you've got, that we might never see them in a Lincoln shirt ever again. But then, as the sort of season progressed, we were nicely, progressively picking up points. We didn't have many games postponed due to COVID. Our players were sort of locked in almost. They were pretty good. Then we sort of had some of the bigger boys come to Central Bank, the likes of Portsmouth, the likes of Sunderland. They both turned us over. Pompey, I thought, were the best team that Lincoln had played this year. You know, they turned us over, players like Marcus and Ronan Curtis, Marcus Harness. You know, very good players for this level. And we sort of had a reality check that, you know, we were riding high at the table, but we thought, well, these are the teams that we've got to be competing with, because they're going to be up there with us at the end of the season if we want to get into the Championship for the first time in God knows however many years. Sunderland turned us over 4-0 at home. Disappointing, but the game could have been different if we took our chances. But yeah, since then, really, we've consistently picked up a lot of points, more away from home. We've only lost twice on the road this year. You know, a couple of weeks ago, you guys would have seen how good we are on the road, beating you guys by 3-0. Sorry to mention it. But we look a shadow of that team at this present moment. We played really well that night. The scoreline flattered us a little bit. But yeah, that night was probably the best day in recent weeks, really. You know, we've drawn with Swindon, as I say. We lost to Fleetwood, we lost to Rochdale today. So, you know, as I said earlier, Steve Evans will be licking his lips. You know, just my thoughts on Gillingham. Really good at the way they play. They're direct, and they don't really care what anybody else has to say about it. That's the style that you guys feel, you know, you can get the best out of your players with. So, you know, all the credit to you. Players that I like the look of, specifically when we played you guys, was Jordan Graham on that right hand side. He struggled against Teo Eden that night, but we've got Cohen Bramall coming in at left back in the last couple of games, and he's somebody that opposition wingers have been able to get at and cause problems for. You know, today at Rochdale, they managed to do the same thing. The boy's quick, but he's not quite been up to speed since he's arrived from Colchester in January. Dempsey in midfield. I mean, I've seen clips of him. I've heard Matt talk about him and how brilliant he is. I'm not sure why Fleetwood, you know, let him come to you guys on a free, but you know, what a piece of business. And then I'll leave my thoughts on Steve Evans for out of the video. Really, he's not really worth talking about in terms of a Lincoln point of view. Not very well liked around these parts due to his exploits at Boston United. But yeah, it's all set to be a game where Gillingham will be looking and thinking they're going to come and really ruffle some feathers and try and get 3 points. And I don't see why they shouldn't. We need a bounce back performance from today, because it was dire. So yeah, if we can play our football, I think we can beat any team in this league on any day, as will Gillingham. So I feel like I'm probably going to be a bit negative and a bit on the fence kind of. So I'm going to say a 1-1 draw. Yeah, we seem to be drawing a lot of games recently. And I'm just glad that we won't be losing at home. You know, should we draw. But yeah, anyway, that's my thoughts and a Lincoln sort of point of view ahead of the game on Tuesday. Thank you very much, Matt, again for having me on the channel, and I hope to see you again soon, just not next season.
Cracking insight there, buddy. So many thanks for coming on again. I have appeared on the Stacey Wed podcast before this game as well, so helping each other out, which is great to see. A lot of football fans have been doing that during this lockdown. And some really informative stuff there from Jake. Right, looking at the comparative form of the two sides, last 6 for Lincoln. It's a single win, 2 draws and 3 defeats. So the form has dropped off since seeing us off a few weeks ago. And at home, it's as bad. It's still 5 points from 18 at Sincil Bank as well. Exactly the same pattern. Single win, 3 defeats, 2 draws. Gills, last 6, 10 from 18. That's 3 wins, a draw and 2 defeats. And on the road, it's 8. So 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 defeats. So very much a mixed bag on the road. But it is only 1 defeat in the last 3 and only 2 in the last 5. Looking at Lincoln, since they beat us, they've only taken 10 points from 27 available. So that's concerning, I'd imagine, for their fan base, which Jake has mentioned. We've taken 16 points in the same period from them 9 games. So decent form. And over the last 12, we're top 6 in the form guide. So that playoff push is still just about alive. I wouldn't say it's a massive flame. It's probably burning embers at the moment. But if we can go to Sincil Bank and pick up a positive result, it keeps us in the mix, even though it is still a long shot. In terms of Lincoln, Liam Bridcut's missed the last few, but Jake has mentioned that he may play Tuesday night. George Grant, or Jorge Grant as people like to call him, such were his performances before his injury, looks like he's out for the rest of the season, so that's a big blow for Appleton. Tom Hopper scored against us, no goal in his last 6, so that'll be a concern as well. They've still got good players, the likes of Brennan Johnson, he of penalty fame at the Priestfield, and Morgan Rogers, the lad on loan from Manchester City. Got 3 in his last 3 in a Lincoln team that's been struggling. He's got 6 in 14 since arriving in January. Defensively, they should still be pretty sound, but confidence might have taken a little bit of hit over the last few games, so it's something we can certainly target. And if we can start correctly and put in another performance like we did in the last few games, then I have every confidence that we might be able to get something. In terms of our team news, there's nothing come out of the weekend game to say that anyone else is injured. So it looks like we're only going to be missing Dominic Samuel and Callum Slattery, who is doing very well according to Steve Evans after surgery on that ankle problem. So for me, starting 11, I'm going to make a couple of changes, which you might find odd because we won at the weekend. But I think Alex McDonald and John Akindi have done enough in their last 2 substitute appearances to warrant a start. So I'm going to go Jack Bonham in goal, a back four of Ryan Jackson, Jack Tucker, Robbie Cundy and Connor Ogilvie. I'm going to go for a midfield of Stuart O'Keefe, Carl Dempsey, Alex McDonald and Jordan Graham. And I'm going to go with John Akindi and Verdane Oliver up front. So that way we can play the diamond if we wish with Jordan Graham in the 10, or we can play a flat 4-4-2 with Jordan and Alex as natural wingers. Try and get to good areas and get good balls into the Lincoln box, allowing Akindi and Oliver to attack them. My bench would be Sasha Bastien, Robbie McKenzie, Tom O'Connor, Henry Woods, Matty Willock, Ollie Lee and Tyreek Johnson. Big question as always, score prediction. I think if we can go up there, if we can also assert our type of game on it, if we can stop Lincoln playing out, then I think we've got a great chance, such as our current form. So I'm going to go for a final score of Lincoln City 1, Gillingham 1, and I'm going to back former Imps hitman John Akindi to net our goal. Right, that is enough from me. Thanks for watching as always. It is the Third Tier podcast tonight at 8 PM we go live. So please come and join me, Tom and Ben for that one. We are joined by Portsmouth fan Hugh, who you can find on Twitter. He deals with the Pompey podcast, which is a really good listen. And obviously it's great timing with Kenny Jackett being sacked over the weekend. So get your questions in for that. Don't forget to go and download that Fan Hub app. Keep looking out for the golden tickets and the codes that will allow you to skip the huge waiting list. The video for their details is at the end of this vlog. And until next time, up the Gills.
Hey!